isn't, y'all? Come on for the walk. Or, get your mats. You want to stretch. Line up if you're walking wall to wall. Get your chair if you're doing chair exercises. Did I say line up if you're walking wall to wall? Or stand up if you're just walking in place? Remember, I walked in place when I was in Vegas, so it was fun, and you can't do it. What else to get? Weights. Get your weights. You're going to do weights. Oh, speaking of weights. Start your treadmill.
Power on.
If you're walking. I'm taking off my warm-up jacket. Let's come on and walk, y'all. Yeah. Ooh, y'all must be putting down all them sweets. It should be a whole bunch of us walking, exercising, doing everything. Woo. This is the season where most of y'all gift is diabetical. So y'all need to walk, run, jump, skate. But that's okay, y'all call it a disease. Y'all say, oh, it has nothing to do with what I put in my mouth. I have this disease. Well, stop putting it in your mouth and see if the disease is still there. And then we'll talk. Now, I know some are born with it. But, trust me. I remember when I said to my heart doctor, I said, you know what? Can you refer me to a nutritionist? Just with the help with the cholesterol. Can you refer me to a nutritionist? He said, oh no, because all of them try to get me. They say, what is it? Your healthcare provider, your primary physician. And I said, well, I'm my primary physician. I'm with me all the time. I know what's going on. And then I took that coding and building class, and those words hit me. In that class, they said, these hypocrite doctors, well, they call it, what do they call it? Hypothetical oath? No, hypocritical oath. What is that thing called? Oh. That oath thing that they took. Do no harm. Well, that don't apply to us. So I'm my primary physician. How can someone that don't give a damn about you be the person who's primarily in charge of your care? I don't get that, y'all. Anywho. So y'all are going to be running back and forth to y'all primary care physicians. And all y'all got to do is just say no to these sweets. I remember when I volunteered at the Dole Community Center in Mount Vernon. And they used to bring them seniors in cake with honey glaze dripping off them. They were sending them Danish things with the fruit in them, glazed donuts. Whew. Folks had to eat a glazed donut with an insulin shot sitting next to them on the plate. So, why don't y'all try this year just not eating that stuff? A lot of y'all still ain't recovered from Thanksgiving and you're still playing around. But anyway, I don't want to turn y'all off any more than I do every morning. Hopefully, you're not listening. You're just working out. This is all for the ethers. All for the ethers, as I say. So, that's how we go. So, thanks for coming on the walk. Like, comment, share, and oh, my pre-notifications of the walk, or this weekend on Friday and Monday when I won't be walking. I used to be able to share it. It used to coming up on my live, but I think I put up a video about the dogs. In my mind, we have a boy and a dog, a boy and a girl pit. And the boy always goes after her. But to see how she maneuvers and what she does is so amazing. But I put on the tag, BYTCH. So, I don't have no more upcoming lives. Also could be the conversation. I be telling the ancestors, I said, you know, when you get us kicked off of Facebook and YouTube, where we gonna go then? And they said, you're gonna go back to the old way. You just putting it out on the ethers. And the old way, how I used to put my ideas, different things out on the ethers, was when it was fax. I would fax like a letter to the editor, didn't care if it got there, didn't care if they see it. That's the ethers. I just had to put it out there. Or sometimes I would just mail it, because mailing is the ethers. It doesn't matter if the person on the other side reads it or ever gets it. It's supposed to be sent out. So they said, we'll just go back to the old way. And I said, okay, go back to the old way. But for now, until they totally take my pages. We here to exercise. Thanks for coming on a walk. So, now I'm telling y'all from memory, I can see where I was standing when I had the thought. I can see if it's a paper or article that I'm reading. I can see it. So that's what I'm telling y'all from. It's called memory. So, the first time I saw Executive Warden Obama, former Executive Warden Obama, I was looking at like C-SPAN or something, Channel 3, and they had all these, like a panel of people, and I think he was a senator, and he got up and his platform was healthcare. So I remember sitting in the room, Mount Vernon. Yeah, Mount Vernon. And I said, who this? Where he come from? And I listened, I was like, oh, healthcare thing again. Okay, y'all, get healthcare out your mind. These European Africans are not going to give it to you because they have no intention of black Africans ever benefiting from anything on this penal colony. Don't get mad, don't get sad, it just ain't gonna happen. So, I was like, oh, this healthcare crap again. Then I think Hillary touched on it, or I call them hillbillies. See, Hillary and Bill, or Bill Hillies. But anyway, I was like, oh, yeah, they've been talking about that, but again, it is not going to happen. Every black African would have to not be on this penal colony for you European Africans to get it. The hate is in the blood, that's why it's so long lasting. See, the ancestors, you need to tap into your ancestors. Probably your blood pressure go down. Anyway. Anyway, I said, who this? So time goes on, life goes on, and I'm listening, and I'm hearing drops, and I was like, oh, that's that guy. That's that guy on C-SPAN that did the healthcare thing. Oh. He running for Executive Warden on this penal colony? I was like, he ain't African American. Because at that time, I know a lot more now. So he ain't African American. What is this? What is this new thing here? It's an old thing, but I didn't know it at that time. I tell y'all. So they start talking about his history, mainly focusing on his family. Father's from Kenya, father's from Kenya, and at that time they was like Hawaii. Now we know these German Ethiopians who control these magazines and newspapers. They tell their own story. They made up their own race. So they can tell their own story. So I'm like, what's going on? And then, very obscurely, I read that Obama was mixed race. German mother living in the United States, moved to Hawaii, and a Kenyan father. Now they're both economics and shit. Trust me. I did a lot more research back then. I ain't pulling it up out my head now, and I ain't wasting my time researching it. If you want to call me a lie, do your own research. So the German Ethiopians started touting him black, and African, and he's supposed to be Muslim. That's called a sleight of hand. Take our eyesight. Straight there, we just started looking. Well, he's the first black, just like Vanessa Williams. Remember Vanessa Williams was the first black Miss America? Well, he's going to be the first black president. And I'm saying to myself, he mixed race. Y'all know the Germans, the Ethiopians. They run everything, honey. So they started publishing that orange shit stain, which is a German African. German African, very successful businessman, has been able to live in New York and cheat and steal for years. So, every time that orange-faced German African opened his mouth, the German Ethiopians published it. And it was all focusing on Kenya and Islam. And so everybody's looking at that. Well, I'm in Mount Vernon, I'm walking into the train station, but I'm like, what? How everybody forget the German part? But now everything say he's a unicorn. The ancestors told me I can't use white no more. If I have to refer to them, I refer to them as their race, which is European African, specifically Italian African, Irish African, etc., etc., etc. Other than that, if I feel compelled to use that term that they use on themselves, which is in everything now, it's called a unicorn. Because there's no such thing as a white person. So they are unicorns. So now everything has the mother as a unicorn. But I remember reading German. Because it just caught me around. I was like, German? Why ain't nobody focusing on that? Because I went to school in New York City, I done told y'all. And the German Ethiopians taught us to hate the other German Africans. Not to like them. They were what you call the German government and Hitler. They put it all on Hitler, but there's a whole government, it's a whole royal family and everything. Okay. So, I'm saying, why ain't nobody really saying too much about that part? As the girls say, that part right there. Break time, y'all. That part right there, I was like, why wasn't nobody focusing on that? And now, like I said, I ain't going back digging. But the little dig I did, you don't see it. They say now that his mother is a unicorn. And his father is from Kenya. But back in the day when I was with it, they said his father was German, the grandparents was German, they was living on Hawaii. And his father was Kenyan. So, remember that combination. I'll be right back. Let's get some water. Let's hear Ron, honey. I hope y'all catching Ron in New York City. He's doing all kind of gigs. Y'all can look up Ron Jackson. Save your feet and toes. Yeah, I said, come on. Yeah, honey. Oh, man. I should probably have a service. Because between Thanksgiving and this holiday, here's to the toes. It's gonna be like off. They ain't never did nothing to nobody but help you walk. But that candy, that sweets, when you walk with me, could stay with you. And the toe was sacrificed. I'm walking, y'all. Trying to save my feet. Long live the toes. I said I'm walking now. Trying to save my feet and toes. Cause if I stop walking now, they'll cut me until the rest of the nose. Woo! It's gonna be a lot of noses. They boosting up them kidney machines right now as I'm getting ready to boost up this treadmill. Anyway, so look at that combination. Now in all the papers they say unicorn, but as I said, back then they was breaking they did a genealogy, all right, on his mother's side of the family. Y'all have to remember that when the German Africans came over, those are your Amish, your all those people. Those are German Africans. Specifically, if they ever did DNA, again, I would tie it back to Ethiopian because it's an Ethiopian cult, Christianity. So, understand why wasn't they focusing on the German side. And if not German, they could have, okay, they have like a Irish last name, Dunham. But I know that when the German Ethiopians fleeing the other German Africans love to fight. Woo, child. When they was fleeing the other German Africans, when they came to this penal colony, they used European African names, like Irish African names, Christian African names. So they are Ethiopians and, oh, child. Jane, stop this crazy thing. Honey, I can't wait to get my do not resuscitate. Chris at Lester Gee's funeral home says he could have me on the first thing smoking, my remains on the first thing smoking the gun within 24 hours. Whew. So, I was like, why is nobody focusing on that? So then I had to start asking myself, well, why am I focusing on it? Why am I focusing on it? He's a German Kenyan. Obama. Why am I focusing on? Why should I care? Well, y'all remember we was just talking about Mazakwa. He's the one that wrote the book Destined to Witness. He was the only, to him, the only black, I think he was Nigerian and German African in Germany. He ain't know all of them was German Africans, but anyway. He was a darker skin. They was all European. Their African was more on the inside than the outside. Anyway, and a lot of facial features. You need to start, African Americans, stop listening to what they said. They put these, oh, these are the unicorns, these are the unicorns. No, they're not. All those kings and queens and stuff like that, they are European Africans. They're European Africans. And if you start looking at pictures like that, instantly you'll be saying, really? They've been fooling us like that all this time? That's why I said in that last video I did passing, these are the greatest passers ever. But the most horrible part about it is, for them to pass, they have to eliminate the darker African. Because as long as the dark Africans here, you can look at us, look in the mirror, African Americans, and hit the museum, especially the European museum that they're always talking about. And go there and see your cousins and your uncles. And especially if y'all have like mixed race people in your family, go look at your cousin that was sitting across the table at you at Thanksgiving in the museum with a crown on his head. Go see your niece that you had just went to dinner with. Go there. Her skin is there. Okay. So, that's what's going on with Obama. So, I'm like, he gets in, the election over, but still for me, what is the formula? These European Africans, they always use some kind of formula. They're not very creative. That's why they always like to get rid of the black Africans. The creativity comes from us. And they just didn't start taking from us. When the African invaders went into Europe, they gave them music, art, and nowadays we say, we make them a song and they take it. No, they don't take it. They use us giving it to them. We taught them. That's how Elvis learned. Mick Jagger, who know he African. He's a European African through and through. And he ain't trying to tout himself as nothing else. Y'all can almost call him because he was so happy with that guitar and the shoot, please. He didn't care where it came from. He's a European African. That's what he been waiting for. Whew. So, Obama gets in. They got how can I say it? The Affordable Health Care Act was like the Voting Rights Act. It's only if the Executive Warden says it is. And if the next Executive Warden that comes in and say it ain't, then it ain't. And that's what Obama did. It was nothing to last. It was nothing to be memorable about other than the fact that he is the first dark-skinned mixed race, European African. But he's dark. You can see the African in him. These other European Africans, that's why the dark-skinned Africans in Europe, the kings and queens of the Africans in Europe, used to call them watered-down Africans, which they hated. But I looked at it and said, what is that combination? Because you see, Shirley Chisholm, she tried to be VP, home girl, sister girl. And then cult leader, Jesse Jackson, tried to be president. I think he was president or vice president. And somebody else in between. Another one. Dark, or as they say, black African. The ancestors gave me permission because I didn't like the word black. Because I had been trained by them that black is bad, black cat, black blah, blah, blah. And when I said them, the European Africans, they were teaching me that everything with black is bad. Because the whole thing is to remove the African out of them. So of course, African, black, everything bad. See how they switched that Book of the Dead? Whew. That King James, let me tell you something. If y'all saw him in the street, y'all say, King James, that piss colored, that piss color, no. That's what you say. But these folks got you fooled that they're unicorns. Unicorns don't exist. Africans existed first. So, how you become the executive warden on this penal colony is first, you cannot have dark, black skin, anything that looks like an African. These European African cousins ain't going to be ruled by the black Africans ever again. They're not doing it. I don't know what the ancestors did to them, but they did something horrible, because if not, I wouldn't have been born in this penal colony. Or maybe it's just a change in the times. But these European Africans ain't get it yet. They ain't never gonna let a black African rule them ever again. They will throw themselves on swords, bombs out windows. They ain't never gonna let that happen again. So, to be an executive warden, and also the kings in Africa, no. That's why the European cousins and Arab cousins is over there fighting in the Middle East right now. Whew, child. DNR, y'all. So that's what it'll take. So if you have a mixed race child, they have a better chance of succeeding in politics. Not necessarily that they're going to do anything to help the black Africans, which is us. We say African Americans, black Africans. They're not going to do anything to help us. It's just not in their thing. They remember. They remember. You know, I used to always wonder, I was like, wow, why would they, you know, when they first brought the Africans here, why did they make sure that they had no instruments, no books? They tore them down to like drawers. They didn't give them no shoes for the snow. They got frostbite. They pop them and push them to the side. And I often wonder, why would you do that if these are people that you said you just took from the Saharas and the huts in Africa? Why would you have to keep those things from them? You can put it in front of their face. You can put it in their head. You can shove it up their ass. They still don't know what it is. But why would you keep it? So why would you keep it away? Because we came from, our ancestors came from Europe. That's the prison war. Yes. And they took all the black Africans and put them on penal colonies. And when I say them, I'm talking about the European Africans. And no black African will ever rule or control them again. They will hunt us black Africans down to extinction. That's why I say to these African countries, y'all be very careful when you're dealing with these European cousins. And then I had a thought this morning with the ancestors. They said, they vibe. Vicki, what if this whole Russian-Ukraine thing is back to trying to get rid of the Africans? Because you know, the Russians, they think they're unicorns. They don't know they're Russian Africans. And those who don't do, anyway. What if they're just like trying to get rid of, say maybe in Ukraine, they found a bunch of African Ukrainian people that was mixing in, and they don't like that. Because they want to be unicorns, and the only way they can still be unicorns if they eliminate any and everything that has African within it. What if that? Because you know them Ukrainians kicked them Africans off that plane like this. Like they ain't with us. We ain't that. I've seen that here. I've seen this here on this penal colony. I seen that here. No, we ain't African. They can't live near us. No. They can't even use our bathroom. That's how ain't African we are. We don't even want to use the bathroom with them. So what if that's it? Some kind of African DNR. DNR, y'all. DNR. Oh, DNR. Oh. DNR for me. So, if your child is Black African, direct them more towards business, nothing to do with politics. That is strictly a European African arena. No, that council or anybody born on this day, that does not apply to Black Africans. First of all, the ancestors were in prison on this penal colony. So kind of like we are generational born in blood inmate criminals. So we'll never receive have you ever seen an inmate come out of jail and then go back in as the warden? It don't happen. It don't happen. And for Black African Americans, because you got white African Americans too. Okay, but one thing at a time. The ancestors be putting all this stuff. Well, I know I did the research. And I was like, no. I read everything. I told y'all when I came out that cult, I was whew. And then we'll be talking about Africans in American theme park, because during the Kwanzaa festival, because when I was, that lean was something. You see, my knees was like, ooh. But I guess it's good because I'm going skating tonight. I'm supposed to be like this. I'm not supposed to be over my skates. Anyway. Yes. Africans in American theme park. That was supposed to be Kwanzaa year-round. Kwanzaa year-round. But now, as I said, hindsight, I knew these European Africans or these European American Africans not going to let that happen. Like I told y'all ain't getting no reparation. It's not going to happen. Stop wasting your time. Don't even put your thought to the manifestation of it, because it's like taking your manifestation, your energy, and your power and throwing it in the garbage, because it's not going to happen. Because that changes the economic thing for us. We're, like now, a senior citizen, I was never going to make enough money to be able to not have to grovel to stay alive. Other than me becoming this overnight millionaire or working, like I think I got friends now, 75. I think my friend Ann has like 2 or 3 jobs, and she's 74. I ain't doing that. So for them, they said grovel. And I said, no, cut back eating. Get more rest. Find a very cheap exercise and activity that you can do, roller skating in the garage, until you go back to the rink. And when I go to the rink, I have Eric for a half hour, and then there's a half hour of free skate. So, until I get back there, and that's it. I'm not groveling for you. I'm not calling up and speaking to the social workers and the blah, 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 blah. That's your plan for the end of my life, but that's not my plan for the end of my life. My implant from that says, do not resuscitate. Call Chris at Lusty Gee's funeral parlor, because he say he can have me on the first thing, he can have me embalmed or cremated on the first thing smoking the gutter within 24 hours. Oh, yes. Yes, my energy says yes. Whew, that's the plan. Squeeze your gut, tuck in your elbow, neither up nor down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 for good luck. Oh, let me tell you. Yeah, I begin on the ancestors. I say, big old powerful African kings. Yes. Yes, you did a lot for Europe. You did loads for Europe. But obviously, since I'm still on this penal colony, you did a lot to them too. So, I'm out of here. Squeeze your gut, tuck in your elbow, neither up nor down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 for good luck. Different things say that the Africans ruled Europe for close to 800 years, the black Africans. And then they're not going to write about it, but that's when the mixing and switch, and then you started getting more European, less African, more European, less African. So they said that took 800 years. Accordingly, 600 years, the black Africans, I'm a descendant of. 600 years on this penal colony. So when I be vibing with them, I said, y'all set up there on them, good. I know how y'all be acting, you know? Boom, 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 boom. With these Europeans. And then you started mixing. And then I see you, I work with you all the time. I love working with African American women, but I'm telling you right now, I know she ain't gonna promote me. She's not. If there is a light-skinned African American in there working, she will give her the promotion. If there is a European African working there, that black African American will give that European African American the position. And that's how we wound up on this penal colony. You know? You went from up here, black Africans rule, mix, 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 blitz. They said, no. We have to bring them up. We have to be, And then they came, they were equal. Everybody had a little kingdom. Everybody was mixed. Everybody had a crown. They was all mixed up. And then one day the European African said, oh no, we could have this whole thing. The European African went up. And the black African went down. And then they took them and put them on ships and sent them on penal colonies all around the world. Total lies. Said y'all came straight from Africa. I be telling, I was like, listen, them European cousins that hooked up your history. They made it a whole unicorn. Anyway, y'all, that's how Obama got there. So if you have a little mixed race child or something like that, preferably German, preferably. I don't think an Irish mixed race will get there. No. I don't think an Italian mixed race, but definitely a a German mixed race. So if you have a little like African and German kid, then you get them into politics. Because on this penal colony, they can become the executive warden. Because that's the mix they're looking for. Everybody else, stop telling your child this lie. That if you're born on this, of course, if you're European, African, like, you know, you always get in like, what is Joe Biden? Who the hell knows? He calls himself a cult. Is it Catholic? but they are the ones that's going to run. No black African will ever control these European Africans again. No matter here on this penal colony, they're in Europe, Ireland, Spain, go on, Portuguese, Portugal, go on, name the European country, Swiss, Dutch, keep naming them. They will never be under African rule, black African rule again. So there you go. But if you have a mixed race child, they have a greater chance of succeeding because that's the majority of what's running this penal colony. Like, comment, share, tell uncle, tell auntie, tell a cousin, tell a friend, subscribe. Oh, I am so stiff. My tomorrow is Friday, because on Friday there will not be. Thursday is the last day this week that I'm walking. I'm changing sets and stuff. Yeah, y'all. Thanks for coming on the walk. Like, comment, share. I know it's a lot. I be telling the ancestors, I was like, they don't want to hear this. I said, I don't want to know this. I'd rather go back to the old ethers. I can just sit down, write a letter, put a stamp on it, and send it out. Don't care if it get where it got to go or not. It can wind up in the mail. The ether is the point from where I mail it, that space in between to where it gets to wherever it is. I send it out on the ethers. That's a lot easier than this. Anyway, hope my page and stuff is still here. Y'all have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow.